You fucking idiot! Think where you're going! You think about it.
We've all come across those people that seem to have a complete and utter lack of awareness, ourselves included. And we've also come across those people that seem to be very, very self-conscious, almost aware of themselves, too much. The narrative of this video is going to work on two simple equations. Focus plus fear of self equals self-consciousness. Focus plus knowledge and knowing of self equals self-awareness. Self-conscious is usually used in the phrasing I am or I'm being. Therefore a being that is being aware of the self.
He thinks he's a wise guy.
Now that could be said in a moment, or it could be used as a description to describe an overall disposition of someone. Its implications in that phrasing is usually towards a less optimal or a negative state of being. And it's always used as a precursor to predict or prevent certain behaviour. It doesn't always need to be stated, it can just simply be implied. An overt example is, I'm too self-conscious for that. A more subtle phrasing may be, I would do, but I'm too. Self-awareness, on the other hand, seems to be the complete opposite in its description and usage. It's almost seen as a positive or an advantageous state of being, or a descriptive quality. He's very astute and self-aware. While someone may profess their need or their goal to become more self-aware, seldom will you hear someone say, I'm trying to be a bit more self-conscious. They may say, I'm trying to be conscious of the amount of sweets that I'm eating. I'm trying to be conscious about how late I stay up at night. If you're a waiter at a fancy restaurant, you'll probably choose the phrasing, Sir, madam, I'd like to make you aware that unfortunately we're out of lobster this evening, over the phrase, Sir, madam, I'd just like to make you conscious of the fact we've run out of lobster. In other words, we want more awareness. There are people petitioning to raise awareness on a geopolitical or social scale. Some look to raise the awareness of the collective, and others more their own individual sense of awareness, therefore their self-awareness. It's just a shame those that profess themselves to have self-awareness seem to be the ones that have them in short supply, oftentimes looking to gloat and take a moral high ground position in order to sound a particular way. This is where virtual signalling and the NPC meltdown enters the chat. You have to stick with me on this one. Consciousness is awareness. We become conscious of what we are aware of, and you could assume that we suffer greatly because we are aware that we are conscious and all of those limitations and fears that are associated to it. We elevate our consciousness by remapping, redesigning, and being mindful of our awareness, as opposed to having a mind full of the type of awareness that makes us feel inferior, small, weak, or helpless.
Frankie, I'm nothing but a parasite.
If you look throughout history and stories of antiquity, heroes, gods, and man alike have pursued this sense of elevating their own awareness, oftentimes seen as a noble or dutiful cause, striving to increase their sense of awareness through knowledge and skills, tools and crafts, technology, for they knew the opposite of awareness is ignorance. For ignorance is bliss on the notion that we are conscious, but we are not aware. Ignorance or ignorant is only ever used as a derogatory or pejorative term. It's never said in a self-boasting or self-proclaimed manner. No one is proud of being ignorant.
You understand that, you ignorant asshole?
Oftentimes when it's used as a pejorative or a derogatory term, it's by those same social justice and NPCs that seem to confuse it with the word stupidity. And in discussion and debate, it's intertwined with the words obsist or isms in order to shut down the discussion and create that sense of moral high ground through their awareness. Everyone's ignorant to some regard, but no one goes out their way to actively be ignorant. And if they are, they aren't aware they are in that moment.
Hello there, Mr. Klein. I hope you don't mind. I pulled your number from the record just to see if you might be interested in some sunbeds. Does that sound about right? Are you in the market for that?
In practice, someone may develop their sense of awareness by a multitude of different means and modalities. And ironically, to sharpen one's ignorance is reducing their exposure for those very means and modalities. Someone may state that they are self-conscious about their body. Now they know they have a body. They're aware of having a body, with its array of data and inputs that's arousing their senses. However, they are conscious or aware of the body they possess or have. You could say awareness, therefore, is being occupied or filtered through the presentation of these feelings and thought loops. It becomes a very cyclical and entrapping mental, emotional and physical state, perhaps not aware of a way forward or a way out. Now, what's the probability of that individual or that person striving to seek the relationship or the root cause of this dissonance or quote-unquote problem? Very unlikely. And when it is, they will be presented again with these same notions of the self-consciousness. They're not ignorant to perhaps what needs to change or how to move forward, but awareness is being processed through crippling self-consciousness. The pits of this vibrational despair inhibit our ability to focus on the pragmatic or the primal, in other words foundationary, elements to this dissonance or problem. Instead, the topic becomes shrouded with the forms of our mental and emotional states. For example, guilt, resentment, grief, and other lower vibrations that only look to strengthen this sense of self-consciousness. In essence, it's a Pandora's box of consciousness. Or, pardon the pun, it's the elephant in the room. I think we can all agree at times, awareness seems like a divine gift that we as humans experience through the self, and is reflected among each other alike. But on the flip side can also appear a divine curse, when humans become hyper-conscious of certain presentations of our own ignorance, fear and uncertainty. For the wise man knows that he knows nothing, but perhaps the awareness of his knowledge or his ignorance. This is Socrates' paradox, I know that I know nothing. However, certainly if the world woke up tomorrow with a genuine sense of self-awareness, and I do mean genuine, not the self-orchestrated stuff that we see in modernity by social justice types, that even though they may pursue a good cause in their heart, oftentimes resort to vulgar acts, become the very thing that they fight when their emotional capacities are overridden. But we must not get our hopes up and believe that everyone will become self-aware. This will never happen through design, because of the capacity and wishes of human beings, as well as the sleepy lull of ignorance appearing bliss. But if it did happen, people wouldn't be instantly happier, healthier or prosperous because of it, but they may be aware as to why they are not, and the onus would lay with them to self-actualize or materialize this further. We are all self-conscious in some form. The question is, what are we most conscious of? And is that awareness helping to traverse us to higher understanding, wisdom or knowledge, both philosophic as well as practical, or is it keeping us within the blissful state of our own ignorance?